Hello everybody and welcome to this amazing lore video of Dead by Daylight's Chapter 3, Flesh and Mud. In this story we cover the lore behind the new survivor Ace, the killer Hag, and Backwater Swamp map. If you missed out on previous chapters of Dead by Daylight, check the description down below for previous lore videos, all the way from Benedict's journal up to the latest chapter. Without waiting any longer, let's begin. Entry 1. The entity keeps rearranging the world around me. I can sense it through the unbearable mist that clouds my mind and tears my soul apart. In front of me, a dark swamp opened up, decaying and rotting, and a maze of walls of mud confused me in my path. In the midst of it, I found burned and scorched wooden buildings. As I walked through them, through the ashes and debris, it was as if a wave of endless torment weighed me down. I do not know what devilish deeds that took place here, but fire has not cleansed the ground from the horror. A new nameless terror stalks the darkness. Her appearance haunts me after a glimpse of her haggard silhouette. Twisted and torn in unspeakable ways, with grayish dead skin stretched out over her emaciated body. I saw that her arm was a horrid overgrown deformity that looked as if it would claw its way through flesh and bone. I feel as if her presence speaks of endless torture. I have seen a poor new soul in this nightmare. For most of the others trapped here, fear is our common denominator. But this man does not appear as haunted as we are. I have seen him walking without despair. Instead, I could see his alert gaze taking in his surroundings, his crooked smile as he picked up something from the ground. Just by watching him from afar, I felt as if he ignited a faint spark of hope in my heart before he disappeared into the shadows. I do not grasp why, but I do pray that good fortune stays on his side. Ace Visconti, male. Ace Visconti is one charming guy. With his sharp Italian looks, gray-streaked hair, and silver tongue, he can pass for an aging 50s movie star. His heart has always belonged to the cards. From his roots as a poor boy in Argentina, he gamed, scammed, and seduced, and smooth-talked his way to a life of luxury as a high roller in the land of opportunity. Money has always had a way of slipping through his fingers, but Ace figures he can always win more. Eventually, he racked up too many debts with the wrong kind of people. But when they finally came to collect, Ace was nowhere to be found. No one knew who tipped him off or where he has gone, but everyone who knows Ace Visconti can agree on one thing. He will survive. Against all odds. Subject 6. Lisa Sherwood. Female. Codename The Hag. Backwater Swamp. It wasn't until the federal marshals found the ramshackle collection of huts when searching for a missing person that the true history of Backwater Swamp began to unravel. The authorities decided to drain the waters around the village to find out what happened here. Soon they realized that the poor souls that had drifted on the currents or gotten lost wandering in the swamp had found their way to this place of unspeakable torment. Backwater Swamp, a large wetland area, had always been a place that the people in the village had avoided at all costs, for the risk to become trapped in the dark waters and lost in the thickets of dense reeds and bulrushes that seemed to choke the rest of the vegetation. The currents gouging through the mud had created an eerie maze in the wetlands, where 3 great rivers crossed paths. The drainage of the village revealed 37 sets of human remains weighed down in the rotten swamp waters. Bodies that showed traces of being cut in, tormented, and their bones carefully scraped free of flesh. It took the pathologists months to piece together what they could find of the remains to identify the victims. As for the family that hunted in these waters, nothing was ever found of them. The buildings where they once lived were burnt and scorched, everything covered in black ashes. No one knows what happened to them, but the rumor is that they burnt it to cover up their deeds, before fleeing into the darkest reaches of the swamp, to one day begin their foul hunt again. Lisa Sherwood grew up in a quiet town. The people of the village were kind, and the elders helped settle their disputes and keep old traditions alive. Lisa was particularly fond of the charms they taught her to draw for safety and good fortune. One night she was walking home through the woods, and a terrible storm struck without warning. In the slick, wet darkness, she lost her footing and struck her head. Slipping in and out of consciousness, she watched dark shapes approach between the trees. Soon they were close enough for her to make out their evil, hungry grins. They kept her chained to the wall in a flooded cellar. Through the gloom, she could see others whose open wounds swarmed with flies. They did not survive long once the cannibals began carving bites into their bodies with their rusted blades, but somehow Lisa persisted. Starved and mutilated, her gaunt arms became loose in their shackles. She pulled, and the metal tore through her skin and muscle until she was free. Her flesh oozed vicious yellow pus, and bones were visible beneath her gangrenous wounds. She could go no further. Delirious, she thought of home. She thought of the elders. She traced the symbols they had taught her. A dark hunger stirred inside of her. It yearned for blood. She chose vengeance. The police search eventually brought them to the old house in the swamp. Its inhabitants had been dismembered and devoured. The elders' charms were scrawled in blood on the floor. Lisa's body was never found. The Pale Rose, an ancient paddle steamer in the middle of the swamp, held captive of the stagnant mud. It had been here long before the residents began their hunt, a barely visible silhouette from the nearby village. There are signs of inhabitation, particularly in the upper state's room where the strange, ritualistic markings in dried blood and dirt cover the floor. From the scale of the bloodletting, something horrid has taken place here. Thank you everybody for listening. Your patronage has been ever so pleasant. If you like this Dead by Daylight content, subscribe for more as I cover the lore as it's released. Don't forget your little notification bell. If you have suggestions to lore of other games, let me know and I would happily dive into more readings. My channel consists of various gameplay as well, so feel free to check out the playlists in the description down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and as always, good game.